And now I will share. Okay, so what I want to do is restart this by a quick review of what is Map Your Neighborhood, and then our wildfire plan as we did it last year. So Map Your Neighborhood is intended to provide a framework for organizing neighborhoods to prepare for emergencies. So it really started around earthquakes, and so it is a basis for recovery when there's been an earthquake and you're pretty much stuck in your neighborhood. And the idea of how do you respond to it. The keys, though, are everybody's involved. Personal information is generally kept within the neighborhood, and everybody is supposed to participate in an emergency, so that it's not, if somebody's away from home, you don't have something missing. This is particularly important in the wildfire case. Okay, so in their basic program, they have 9 steps. These are around earthquakes, mostly. That includes skills and equipment inventory, the neighborhood map, contact list, and how to work together as a team. Now, there's a series of videos available. If anybody's on here who hasn't gone through the program, the link I'll send out will give you the link to these videos, which are worth watching. It'll take you about an hour of watching. But if you think about it, if you ever do have to live through an earthquake, it might be also nice to know the thoughts here. All right, we are divided into 4 groups. Ken Beck and I cover Stone Creek Circle. Lynn and Sue Dibble cover the east part of Stonebridge and a little up into Meadow Ridge Lane. Wendy and Bonnie cover the middle part of Stonebridge, and Osha and Julie cover the west part. So your first group, the actual Map Your Neighborhood group, is one of these 4.
George, may I say something? So Sue Dibble is no longer a co-leader of this MYN group. I am looking for a replacement, but Sue's health conditions no longer allow her to have that position. Okay, so please note that. Okay, so now let's go over to the wildfire. We developed last year 9 steps for a wildfire emergency. Stage 1, which we're in now, is to develop your plan. And there are 4 steps there. Stage 2 occurs when there's a red flag alert, as there almost was this week. Stage 3 is when there's an evacuation warning that even threatens Oakmont. And stage 4 is when you actually decide to evacuate. So don't get too hung up in the details here, but let's just quickly go through them. When we look at alerts, the number 1 alert is what's called Nixle. And everybody should be on Nixle. You text your zip code to this number. So you just go onto your cell phone, put that phone number in and text them your zip code. And they'll record your cell phone number as a place they send alerts. They send alerts from both Napa County and Sonoma County. And that's important because the fires that have affected us have all started in Napa. Mm-hmm. You also want to sign up for the SoCo alerts, Sonoma County alerts. And again, you don't have to write this down. This will be on the thing we'll send out later. But this is used more by the county and the city of Santa Rosa than Nixle is compared to Napa. You want to set your phone so it can receive wireless emergency alerts. These are area alerts that are sent out over the cellular, and you have to be careful that you actually have your cell phone set up so it will receive and alert you to these. Okay, most are the defaults normally that it's on, but you may have it off. So again, if you go here, and this information will be on the website, on the site we'll send you. Okay, this is how to make sure that they're working. Everybody should have a NOAA radio. If you don't, contact one of the leads and we'll tell you what the radio is we have.
George, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Mine doesn't get any reception. The NOAA constantly flashes.
There is a problem with reception in our area, and Ken is on top of that and is having someone from Sunoco Alert coming out next Wednesday, Ken?
Yes, at 11 a.m. and he'll actually do a test. And they have put up an extended antenna in our area. And we're going to find out if that helps us get better reception, because we have the same problem.
Yep.
Excuse me, is that for the SoCo alert if you opt in for that? Oh,
No, that's for the NOAA radio.
okay, so I have a question. I have a NOAA radio and occasionally it does a test and you have to shut it off. If you get a warning, what does that mean? I'm really not sure.
A warning will be, they will have in the area when you click on the left dot, the left button, it'll
Yeah.
tell you what the warning is. The one
Okay.
many of us received was a couple of years ago, there was dry lightning
Uh-huh,
coming into this area.
yes.
And I remember being woken up at like 2 a.m. with that thing going
Right.
off, gangbusters, telling me, watch out, there's dry lightning coming.
Okay, so it's not an evacuation, it's just a weather alert.
It is an alert that the conditions have suddenly become more severe for your area.
Okay, thank you.
And one of the problems with the NOAA alerts is they are regional. So they could decide that there's a big problem potentially in Glen Ellen, and we get the alert.
Okay.
Which, as far as I'm concerned, I'm in the camp of saying I want more alerts, not less. Okay.
I have a question, if I may.
Yeah.
So is this quadruple redundancy? In other words, if one of these agencies is alerting us, are all of them going to be alerting us?
The answer is not necessarily. Okay. So that probably there's a 75% overlap. But I know, for example, that in some of the cases, the SoCo alert and the NIXL alerts are not, the NIXL is not being given while the SoCo alert is being given. Okay, here in the county. Apparently the city of Santa Rosa got all bothered by how much NIXL cost and the fact it wasn't doing a great job. So they opted to go into SoCo alert more. Okay, the wireless emergency alerts and the NOAA radio are more regional and more large scale. Whereas the NIXL alert will be pretty specific. It'll say, you know, we're closing, or we have an evacuation possible here, and give a location. I like NIXL because it covers Napa, and the fires that we get have come from Napa. So we watched the one in 2020. We watched it from the time it started over near Angwin,
Yeah,
over in the mountains, and gradually made its way across the valley in Napa, and then came up Hood Mountain, the other side, and down Los Alamos Road. And you could watch it,
Yep.
all the alerts.
Well, George, in all fairness, from 2017 with the tubs, all of them, NIXL has been a great system.
Okay, if you really want to get into this, you can follow even closer. Santa Rosa Police has a Twitter account, if you're into Twitter, and they have a Facebook account. And Santa Rosa Fire also has both Twitter and Facebook. And CAL FIRE has a map of incidents that you can look at. So again, this will all be on a handout. Now, we had been subject to PSPS events. We're going to have less now that Rincon is hardened. Does everybody know about Rincon being hardened, or do they want me to take a moment on that?
please take a moment.
Okay. We are serviced by a substation called the Rincon substation. If you go over to Oliver's, it is back about a mile further back of Oliver's, up into the hills. The problem with that station is it's actually in a wildfire region. So it is the first thing to be shut down in an emergency. So what they did last year, and I think they completed it in October, but they actually undergrounded the wires. So they can keep us active even though the substation that's servicing us is in a wildfire area. Now, that doesn't mean if they have to shut it down because there is a wildfire, okay, that we're not going to get a power outage. But we're no longer going to be subject to the PSPS events. Now, that covers Oakmont up to where the CAC is, but just the other side of the CAC, they're serviced by a completely different substation, and that one is still subject to shutdowns. Okay, if you have need to be into it, one of these apps that many of us have is Purple Air. It shows the air quality locally. So if you have a breathing issue, this may be important. Weather.gov is a site, and again, all the details about how to get to these are on the handout. Weather.gov is a site that focuses on where are the current alerts. So you can go there and see where the red flag alerts are. And then there's something called the Storm Prediction Center, which is literally that. It's a weather service by the government, NOAA, that says, watch out. Right now, it's the middle of the country. You want to think about your radio stations. If you have a radio that has batteries or you can operate during an outage, most of us have found KSRO and KRCB to be good sites, and KCBS. Okay. Now, this is a new app. Okay. Okay. Watch Duty is what it says at the top. You can see it. What this is what's called a crowdsourced site. And what happens is if anybody sees a fire, they can take a picture and send it into them, and they will begin to accumulate information about the fire. So if you were around Monday, you might have noted there was this little fire that started over near St. Helena. And this is what showed up on Watch Duty. And they had 4 photographs people had taken. If you clicked here. So this is an interesting app, and I would certainly recommend people put it on. Okay, so that's step 1 is alerts. Step 2, make sure you know where your equipment is. If we were to lose electricity, flashlights, batteries, and I think most of you remember we have been recommending area lights. These are like you take on a camping trip, because if you actually are trying in an emergency to get your stuff together, flashlights aren't enough. You need an area light. You want to know where your maps are. There are evacuation zones for Sonoma and Santa Rosa, and maps for Sonoma and Napa. We're going to show you a couple of maps in a minute, and then we went down to AAA and got the regional maps. So we could follow when the people in Napa say, we're closing between these 2 streets over on the Route 29, we would know where they were closing. We had agreed that we have an OK sign, and everybody should have that. In a earthquake, the OK sign is supposed to say, I'm okay, don't worry about me. What we've decided is during an evacuation, the OK sign means I'm gone, don't worry about me. So decide where you want to put that. So these are the 2 maps.
Did you want to mention that the other side of that OK sign is help?
The other side of the OK sign is help.
Yeah.
And
So if you do need help.
yep.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the first map. This is a map of Oakmont. And Oakmont is divided into 3 zones. What's a zone? If in fact the city of Santa Rosa decides there's an evacuation that is either threatened or needs to be done, it will say, we are going to evacuate Stonebridge. So this is Stonebridge, the green. Or North Oakmont, that's the blue. or South Oakmont, that's the, whatever you want to call that. So that's where we are. Much more important is this map. This is a map that shows the codes that the county uses for the areas around us. So for example, if they wanted to evacuate Annandale, they would say, we're evacuating 3R1. You need this map because I can't remember what these are. But when they had the evacuations around Los Alamos last year, they started with 3H1, they got 3H3, and by then we were gone. Okay. Oh, thank you. The words are the way that the city of Santa Rosa tells you what's evacuating. And the one thing to be sure you're aware of is you see the word Pythian shows up twice. So in 2020, they were evacuating Pythian because it's the intersection at Melita where the gas station is, where in fact, I thought they were evacuating Pythian, which is where the St. Francis Winery is. So be sure you know. This is important to follow because it helps you understand where you would turn if you get to Route 12 and are evacuating. And that's an important thing to know. These maps, there's a reference to these. They're on the OVA website. You can also get copies of these from the OVA, physical copies, if you go down there. Okay. Step 3. This is a general summary from the way in which the Map Your Neighborhood works. When you get to an emergency, your thoughts get confused. You're trying to do too much too fast. You need to have now you want to write down what you're going to do. So start. We have pre-packed bags sitting right now in our closet. We can pull them out as soon as they're needed. They have changes of clothes, a couple of extra chargers for our electronics ready to go, and my DOP kit, our DOP kits. When we take a trip, when we get back and do our laundry, we then repack the go bag. Think about a grab bag. These are items which you're going to pack as soon as there's a red flag alert or evacuation warning. Think about supplies, particularly medications, hearing aid batteries if you've got hearing aids. We got caught in 2017 where we evacuated and hadn't brought enough medications, and one of the medications we had was one that is not commonly available. Took a lot of effort to get it, and finally we had got a policeman to drive to the house and pick it up for us. Think about a local phone list, your Map Your Neighborhood group, Stone Creek Owners Association group, maybe the Oakmont directory. These are important because other people in Oakmont that you know will be getting information, and sharing that information can be very important. There may be personal things you want to take. I have my great-grandfather's Bible, which it would not be good if I lost. Think about how you're going to handle your pets. One of the most frustrating things in the evacuations has been people who cannot get their cat out from wherever it is. Define a meeting spot. If you're a couple, there's some possibility one of you will be out and the other one at home. Where are you going to meet? And then things you want to do before you evacuate. You want to bring in flammable items. The propane tanks go in the garage, but the back gates get tied back, and you put out ladders if you have time. Okay, and then I'm not going to spend time on this, but take a final review of your home hardening practices. Okay, now, red flag alert. Set up a monitoring team. One of the great things about this group is we're all monitored. Your responsibility, if you get nervous, is to call Ken, Lynn, Julie, OSHA, Bonnie, whoever, and say, I'm nervous because I learned the following thing. Because all of us need to know it. When we get to a serious fire, one of us should be monitoring it. Keep your cell phone in your bedroom. And if you use CPAP, you may want to not use it, and you may want to leave your hearing aid in, because one of the big problems has been, in 2017 anyway, was people who couldn't hear that there was an emergency and it's time to evacuate.
George,
Yep.
there's Sue and Jean have the new sign for red flag warning, which will, if there is a red flag warning, it will go out in front of their house by the bridge.
Okay.
So all of us that, if we're driving, should see that, which might help.
Yep. Everything we can do to share information, please do. You want to start your preparations. If you have neighbors who might need help, check in with them. Remind them that if they are going to have difficulty evacuating, they may want to get ahead of the game. You at least want one of your cars in the driveway, and you want to be sure that it's full of gas. Remember that if we lose electricity, which can be shut off because of a fire threat, you can't pump gas. Don't let your cat out again. And consider raking and sweeping your outside areas to minimize flammable leaves. Okay, when there's an evacuation threat, where are you going? Let people know where you're going. Confirm your meeting spot, decide what you plan to, and you plan to evacuate. I'm going to show you a slide now. This is Stone Bridge. There are 634 homes that have one exit where Stonebridge meets Oakmont Drive. If Oakmont is evacuating, Oakmont Drive is not going to be easy to get onto. This is a classic wildfire threat situation. If you don't want to wait 2 hours to get out, you have to leave before the evacuation starts. Okay. And think ahead of time which way to turn on Route 12. You can ask others here. Now, in the case where there's a true, we have to get out of here now, the police cars have been outfitted with high-low sirens. They will alert immediate evacuations. Okay, just keep going as it gets time. Lots of stuff. And when it's time to go, put your sign in place. Tell other people here. Check in with everybody else. Close interior doors, make sure windows are closed tight, and leave one light on inside the bedroom. Those are the instructions we've got.
George,
So, yeah.
what about turning off your air conditioner?
To be honest, I've never heard an answer on that, because the general assumption is by the time you get evacuated, you're going to be out of power anyway. But I don't know that there's any specific concern.
Also turn off your ice maker in your refrigerator.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's an expensive mistake to make.
Yes.
We
And,
know.
and empty the ice that's in there also,
Yeah.
because it
Yes.
melts.
Yes.
Okay, that's basically it. So I'm going to stop the sharing for now and open up for comments, questions, what you all may want to share.
Oh, I have a comment, and that is, George, what a wonderful job you have done to put all this together. Are your slides going to be available to us?
Yes, I will be sending a link, number one, to the video from this,
Uh-huh.
number two, to the slides as such, and number three, to a 2-page piece I put together that has all of the links on it. So you can just click on a link and go to the place that tells you how to be sure your emergency alert is set up on your phone. Okay.
Well, we are very lucky to have you guiding us. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So I have a question. Since we did our Map Your Neighborhood, I'm in Lynn's group. I think some of the people may have changed. Is we start updating, because when I left for the glass fire, I had the list with me and I called everybody to say I was leaving, and also my next door neighbor, that she was alone, and I woke her up before I left, but she had no way to get out by herself. So someone had to call someone to come and get her.
And we really want to be on top of situations like that, because people can't get in to take somebody out.
Well, I left very early. They
Exactly.
finally said evacuated 7:30. I left at 5 something. So I did call everyone, but I'm not sure that our phone list is even up to date. So it's probably something we all want to look at for our various neighborhoods.
Okay,
You're
Lynn,
right.
you got that one?
I sure do.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
sure,
other-
you got that one for yours?
Yeah, I have a list and I updated it with the new neighbors who've moved in.
Great.
And then also I'm just trying to get it changed on the map that shows where the houses are. So I'm having a little trouble with that part, but when I have that done, I'll just distribute those to everyone. So you'll all have
Great.
the information.
Bonnie?
Lynn, I can help you with that. I'll help you with it.
Thank you.
The other question is, it's sort of vacation time and people are taking off. So is there should we let certain people know that we're gone when we go, what our dates are, so that we're all aware that someone's not here?
That
I
would
think
be
within-
ideal.
It's a good idea, and I think within the group, most of us try to have someone we're paired with.
Okay.
So Christine always knows if we're not here. Okay. So, that's a really good thing to do.
Okay.
Okay, Bonnie,
Yeah,
will you be able to do an update on your list?
we've been working on it. We're still short the one house that's actually in your HOA that Wendy hasn't been able to find the people there.
Okay, this is Nancy Young's old house.
The one that had been empty for so long.
Yeah.
On the corner, yeah.
Okay, I may have contact information to send you.
Okay, would you do that, please?
Yeah. Okay, any other inputs? Okay, may this turn out to be a big waste of time.
Amen.
Amen is right.
Thank you all for spending your time.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
George.
George.
Thank you, George.